Viscose. My name's Sarah. Thanks for joining me today. It's Friday the 1st of March. Spring is finally here. I don't know about you, but it's felt really different the last week or so. I arrive on my days when I'm teaching in a school. I arrive just after 7. And this is the first week where it has actually been light when I've arrived. And it's staying light a lot later. So I work a lot of evenings as well, and so I really notice when the times change when I arrive in different places. So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling, even though it's absolutely freezing, I'm feeling lifted by the appearance of spring. So I just wanted to come on. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I actually hadn't really had time to sew anything the week before. I cut a few things out and stuff like that, I had plans, but I just decided on the Friday that instead of spending the time filming and editing, I would just spend the time sewing, and then I'd have something to share with you this week. So on the mannequin, you may have seen this in my Springs Plan video where I spoke about it in a bit of detail. This is my Be Mine balloon sleeve top, which is by Pattern Emporium in this crinkle viscose, which was an absolute pain to sew with, but has made for a nice blouse. There were some slight fitting things, which I think are more to do with the fact that the fabric is super flexible. So I'm looking forward to making this pattern again. I think I've got a cotton lawn in mind, so I'm going to try it and see where I'm at on the fit when I've got a fabric that's a bit more stable. But I have worn this blouse. The only thing I'm not sure about, it has this dipped hem at the front. So it's like high at the centre front, and then it dips down to the seams. And it's just, I was wearing it with jeans the other day, but I don't love framing my tummy massively, which it sort of does. So I think I've either got to make some more like skimming trousers, or I've got to make something that I could tuck it into. Yeah, so I've just got to play around with how I would style it, but I really love the blouse. And as I said, very quick, very simple sew. So yeah, that was that. Now, my big project for this week was a newish pattern by a brand that I have not used before, and they only have a couple of patterns released, so they are quite a new brand. The brand are called Cinnamon Daisy Studio, and the pattern is called the Willow dress. Now, I had seen the Willow dress all over my grid, even though it was newly released. I'd just seen a few people who tested it and stuff like that, and every single version I thought was gorgeous. So I'll tell you a bit about the pattern now. So I'll see if I can put line drawings up here if possible. It's this lovely dress or blouse pattern. So you can do it in 3 lengths. There's a top with a peplum. There is a mini skirt and a midi skirt. The midi skirt on me was really long, close to maxi length, but I'm 5'4". I think it's drafted for 5'6". So that makes sense, I guess, to some degree. But yes, the skirt was quite long. It then has this really gorgeous darted bodice. There's a high neckline at the front and then a scoop neckline at the back. You have different sleeve options. So there is a puff sleeve, a flutter sleeve, which is the one I made, and a sleeveless option where you bind the sleeve holes, armholes, not the sleeve holes. And then a really gorgeous feature of this is the tie details you have at the waist. So you basically, the darts on the front bodice are open darts. So you cut out the full triangle shape, and then you sandwich one of the ties into each dart and then another one into each of the side seams in the bodice. And then that means when it's all sewn up, you can tie them together, and it really cinches you in at the waist. Makes a really pretty silhouette. Also, the waist seam is dipped into a point. So you have, it's almost like I don't know if it's officially called a basque or a corset waist shape, but you know the type I mean, that you see on like costumes where the waistline dips down into a point. It has that as well. So there are loads of really nice features to this pattern. I'm going to pop some pictures up here of me in it. The fabric, before I move on, is a stretch viscose challis from minerva.com that I was given as part of my ambassador role. And initially they gave me 2 fabrics this month, which I wasn't expecting. So I was sort of trying to work out what to make with this. And it turned out to be a really good option for this pattern. Now you don't need a stretch woven for the Willow dress, but it just makes it a bit more comfortable. And I really like the print. It's by John Loudon, the design. So you've got these nice navy background with like mustard coloured flowers all over it. Really nice fabric to work with. Not too slippery for viscose challis either. And it's quite like sturdy. So I think it's good for workwear because I've already worn this dress 3 days this week, which I'm not wearing it now because it's in the wash. Yeah, so that's the fabric. And back to the pattern. So I looked at it, I decided I wanted to make the longer length, and I also wanted to make the flutter sleeves. I thought the flutter sleeves, like the puff sleeves, I think are very pretty, but they make the dress immediately look a bit more summery, whereas the flutter sleeves are just a bit more relaxed. You actually use the same pattern for either. The puff sleeves, you just obviously gather at the cuff, which you don't with the flutter sleeves. But yeah, what did I think of it? I loved sewing it. It came together really quickly, which I wasn't expecting because it has so many little design elements. I just thought it would take ages. Picking the size wasn't too bad. This is a little bit unorthodox. I was a bit muddled about how to do a full bust adjustment with the open darts. And so I decided instead that I would keep, so I cut it out. I can't remember which size I cut it out at now, but I think they're lettered sizing. And so I cut it out at a smaller size for the shoulders. And then I graded out one size at the bust and then back to the normal size for the waist and the rest of the dress. And the fit seems pretty good. Again, I'll try this dress again in a non-stretch fabric and see, but it feels like a good fit. So that seemed to work. But if you know of any tutorials of how to do a full bust adjustment on an open dart, it might just be really similar. I don't know, but I just was freaked out by it. So I improvised. But I thought the fit was pretty good. The construction is really, really pleasing. And there are some really nice elements that just mean the inside of it looks really lush. So I'll try and get pictures of the inside. It's just drying at the moment, so I'll try and get pictures of the inside. But basically you have a flat felled seam. So the back bodice is cut in 2 parts. And then you join them with a flat felled seam, which I hadn't done before. But it's just such a neat finish. Such a neat finish. And the neckline is bound. No facings. Yay! So the neckline looks really, really neat as well. And I just think there are lots of thoughtful little bits that have been put in, which aren't massively more difficult, but they just elevate the garment somewhat. So yeah, I'm a bit obsessed with it actually. I'm already trying to work out. The thing is, I'm committed to making some other things first, so I need to not let myself get waylaid and make 100 of them. But it's a really like I've worn it, as I said, I've worn it to work all week, and it's been really well received. But also you can make so many gorgeous sort of summery picnic dresses. I think I might like to try and find some ways to add a bit more volume to the skirt, which you could obviously do by just cutting the pieces wider and gathering them more, or just having it so that it flares out a bit more. The shape is quite straight of the skirt. Or by adding, you could add a ruffled here, play with the proportions, add a ruffled here on the bottom. There are lots of ways you could do that, but I'd say to make it my perfect dress, I would like just like a little bit more volume in the skirt. But yeah, overall, I mean, what a great pattern. What a great pattern. It would be really good if you are a beginner sewist and you've found your way around your machine, but you want something that's like a bit more interesting but isn't massively more challenging. This would be a really great place to look, because it was just much easier than I thought, much quicker. You can work with quite stable fabric to make it if you want. I think a bit of drape is nice, but yeah, you don't need, I think you can get a good result without having to do too much that's too complicated. So I would highly, highly recommend that pattern. I'm going to definitely be making many more of them. I think it might be my pattern of the year. I had one year where I kept making the Tamsin. I had another year where I kept making Lyra. Mabel, I think, was my main dress of last year, and I do have another Mabel coming up. But I think the Willow is potentially going to be like my dress of this year. I'm very excited to make more of them. Now, aside from that, I've been sewing up some more children's clothes. As you know, I am making endless garments at the moment. 3 of the kids I've now fully sewn all their bits for. So I have 2 more that I'm still working on. But I made this pair of little sweatshirts that I was going to show you. So they're Billy sweatshirts again. Not Billy. That's a lie. Strawberry sweatshirts. And they are in the green colourway of this alphabet fabric, which is a French terry by Graziella. It's really lovely quality, really soft. The print is very vivid. And then on the back, I've put a little rosy cheeks label. Life is colourful, because it is. And I didn't have any ribbing, so I've just used some sweatshirting for the cuffs, which isn't the most, it's not the most stretchy, but you know, it's stretchy enough for like a 2-month-old. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with those actually. And I'm quite relieved that I'm almost through. I'm going to take a break from baby clothes once the next, I think I've got maybe 3 or 4 more garments to make. They are quick, but I'm actually just bored of making them right now. It's just been too many at once. But no, I'm pleased that I'm getting through them now. I feel good. And every garment, they are so cute. You just make something mini and suddenly it's adorable. So for this week, my baby clothes sewing priority are going to be these 2 little dresses that I'm going to make. So the elder sister is my goddaughter, and she's just had a new baby sister. So I'm going to make them their little big sis, little sis dresses, which I'll hopefully be able to show you next week. And then next up is my Mabel, which is for Jenny Stitches, which I talked about in my spring plans. I'm also working on my next Little Miss So-and-so box. I've just been watching the video tutorial for that garment today. And I'm looking forward to making that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to making this one. It's the Serene skirt this time, which has sort of this dipped hem, loads of gathers. Very impatient with gathers. So I'm hoping there's going to be some tip in there that's like, this is how you make gathers go really fast and accurately. But that may be wishful thinking. So yeah, other than that, what's been going on? You're bored of me saying work is really busy, but work is really busy. I feel very envious of myself of the school holidays when I do get a bit more time to sew, and it isn't that long until the Easter holidays. Yeah, so at the moment I have some really small pockets of time. I've now tried to cut out a few things, which means when I have that time I can sew. So last week when I had time I was cutting out, and then that meant from Friday onwards I could actually sew when I had a bit of time. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get to a point where I've batch cut things so that I then can just get on with it when I have a window. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get a few more things sewn up this week, but it does just depend what comes up. And now that it's March, I'm not too far from the end of my fabric ban. I am going to try to be a bit more controlled, even when I might even do another fabric ban later in the year, because I've still got so much of my stash to get through. So I might even just do a sort of, I'm going to the Sew Me Sunshine party on the Saturday of the Stitch Festival weekend, and then I'm going to a Stitch Festival on the Sunday, and I do want to be able to shop a bit for those. But I want to try and put the reins on my like impulse shopping that I just do when it's late at night and they've done a drop and I just get talked into buying stuff that I can't possibly sew up. So yeah, I think I need to have these regular periods where I don't shop, just to give me clarity of what I've already got in my stash and the gaps that need filling, because I've got so many bright things. I actually think, oh, what I need are things that tie them together. That's what I think I need. I'm really keen at the moment to look at making some trousers for work, but I'm struggling to settle on what kind of fabric. Like, a lot of suiting fabrics are poly or wool, and I just can't work out what fabric I need, bearing in mind I mean, it's not going to be boiling, is it? But I just want something that I can sort of wear when it gets a little bit warmer. I just can't work out what fabric it is that I need. So if you know, what is the perfect fabric for work trousers? Sturdy. I'm going to go for like a plain colour because I've got so many patterned like blouses and stuff to wear with it. Yeah, I'm just stuck. And so I keep not going in that direction. I've got a couple of patterns that would work, but just the right fabric has evaded me. So if you know, let me know below. And yeah, other than that, our house is sort of coming on. We're now, if you remember, we thought we'd be back for Christmas originally. And now it's looking like they're saying tentatively the end of April, everything will be done. It will be ready for us to move in. So it's been plastered, painted, everything should be like done. But I just sort of can't believe it. I just can't believe it'll be done by then because it's been moved back so often. And term will have just started and I'll be very busy again. So I potentially won't actually get to properly move back in till the end of May. But we'll see. We'll see. We have been able to do fun things. We've been picking, our kitchen's all designed, been picking out tiles for the bathroom. I'm starting to think a bit more about the sewing space. I think I know the vibe I want for the room. It's also our spare room, so I have to think about how to make it function for both. But that has been quite fun to do as well. So near the time I'll be talking to you more about solutions. There's not going to be loads of space, but I just want to utilize it the best that I can. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Hopefully I'll have some more stuff to show you next week. I do have a couple of other vlogs coming up. I'm on the vlogger tour for So Yellow for Endo and also So Frugal, so I'll have vlogs for those, as well as my Serene skirt vlog once I finished making it and reviewing it. So yeah, so there are a few random bits and bobs coming up over the next few weeks. And I just wanted to check in today and tell you how great the Willow dress is. So if you look at it and you think that's my vibe, I would say go for it because it's gorgeous. And I think it would look good on everybody. I think it's just, yeah, I think it's a good one. So check it out. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in today and I look forward to catching up with you next time. Have a great week. Bye.